In a small African village, there lived a boy named Tega. He was the only son and the third child of his parents. Tega's family was very poor. His father was a farmer and his mother sold firewood, but they barely had enough money to buy food, let alone send their children to school. Tega loved learning. Every morning he would sit outside the village school, listening to the teacher through the open window. He picked up words, numbers, and songs, even though he didn't have a notebook or pencil. Tega's uncle, Uncle Ebuka, was a rich man. He had big farms, cattle, and a big house. But Uncle Ebuka was a wicked man. He didn't like Tega's family because they were poor. Whenever Tega's father went to ask for help, Uncle Ebuka would laugh and chase him away. One day, Tega went to his uncle. He knelt and said, "Uncle Ebuka, please help me go to school. I want to learn and help my family one day." But Uncle Ebuka shouted, "Go away, you silly boy. I will never waste my money on a poor boy like you." Then he laughed and said, "Your father is too lazy, and you are nothing like my children. They are strong and clever." Tega walked away with tears in his eyes, but he didn't give up. He began to help the village teacher clean the classroom after school. In return, the teacher gave Tega an old notebook and pencil. One evening, the teacher heard about a scholarship for bright children from poor families. She encouraged Tega to apply. Tega studied day and night, reading and writing under the moonlight. His sisters would fetch water and help with the farm work so he could have more time to study. The morning of the scholarship exam was cool and quiet. Tega woke up early, tying his only pair of sandals with a piece of string so they wouldn't fall apart. The sky was still pink when he and his teacher began their long walk to the city. The path was dusty, lined with tall grass that swayed in the gentle breeze. Birds chirped above, and Tega's heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear. "What if I fail?" he thought, clutching his small notebook tightly. His teacher, walking beside him, noticed the worry on his face. She patted his shoulder and said, "Tega, you've worked hard. Believe in yourself. You will make us proud." When they arrived at the city, Tega's eyes widened. The streets were noisy with the sounds of honking cars, busy traders, and children running to school. The exam hall was a giant building with shiny windows that reflected the bright sun. Tega felt small but determined as he stepped inside, whispering a prayer under his breath. The scholarship exam day came and Tega was very nervous. He walked to the big city with his teacher because his family couldn't afford transport money. When Tega entered the exam hall, he remembered everything he had learned and wrote with all his heart that hard work pays off. Tega worked hard and never gave up, even when things were difficult. Kindness is powerful. The teacher showed kindness to Tega, which changed his life. Weeks passed after Tega wrote the exam. Every morning he would wake up and ask his teacher, have they sent the results? The teacher would smile and say, "Be patient, Tega. Good things take time." One sunny afternoon, the village chief called for a meeting. Everyone in the village gathered under the big baobab tree. The chief held a letter in his hand and said, "We have great news. Someone from our village has won a scholarship to study in the best school in the city." The crowd buzzed with excitement. "Who is it?" they asked. The chief smiled and called out, "Tega, the boy with the big dreams." Tega's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. The villagers cheered and clapped, but one person was not happy: Uncle Ebuka. He folded his arms and frowned. "How can that poor boy get a scholarship? My children are better than him," he muttered. Nay. Tega's family celebrated that night. His father danced and his mother cooked yam porridge for everyone in the village. Tega hugged his teacher and said, "Thank you for believing in me." The next week, Tega traveled to the city to start his new school. At first, he was scared because everything was so different. The buildings were tall, the classrooms were big, and the children spoke in a language he didn't fully understand. But Tega remembered what his mother always said: when you don't know something, learn it. He studied hard, just like he did in the village. The teachers loved his courage and hard work. Soon, Tega became one of the best students in the school. He won awards, made new friends, and wrote letters to his family every month. Years passed, and Tega graduated with top honors. He got a job as an engineer and started earning a lot of money. One day, he returned to his village, driving a shiny car. The villagers couldn't believe their eyes. "Is that Tega?" they whispered. When Tega stepped out, he went straight to his parents and knelt to greet them. He said, "Everything I have is because of your love and prayers." Uncle Ebuka and his children were standing in the crowd looking ashamed. They hadn't expected Tega to become so successful. Uncle Ebuka walked up to Tega and said, "Tega, I am sorry for the way I treated you. My children need help. Can you help them?" Tega looked at his uncle and said, "I forgive you, uncle. I will help your children, just as my teacher helped me." Tega built a school in the village so that no child would have to suffer like he did. He made sure Uncle Ibuka's children attended for free. Over time, the uncle and the rest of the family grew to love and respect Tega. The day of the school's opening was full of excitement. The villagers wore their best clothes and the children lined up in front of the colorful building. The walls were painted with pictures of books, animals, and smiling faces. The name of the school was written in bold letters, Hope Academy. Tega stood at the entrance holding a pair of scissors tied with a red ribbon. His parents sat proudly in the front row, beaming with joy. Uncle Ebuka and his children stood quietly at the back, their eyes fixed on the grand ceremony. The village chief gave a speech. "This school is not just a building," he said. "It is a gift from Tega to all of us, a place where dreams will grow." When Tega cut the ribbon, the crowd erupted in cheers. Children rushed inside, their laughter echoing through the hallways. They touched the desks, flipped through the books, and pointed excitedly at the bright posters on the walls. Tega watched them with tears in his eyes. "This is only the beginning," he whispered to himself. Forgiveness is strength. Tega chose to forgive, even though his uncle had wronged him. Kindness can change lives by helping others. Tega made his village a better place. Dream big. No matter how small you start, hard work and determination can lead to greatness.